FNAF at this point is the comfort of my existence. This series has pretty much changed my life. For better or for worse, it's up to you to decide. But to me, this little series about Chuck E. Cheese ripoffs trying to rip off your head, it still has a place in my heart. And now I'm going to arbitrarily rank them in a subjective list filled with my personal opinions. So if you don't like them, cry about it. Yeah, my opinion hasn't changed. This game fucking sucks. Now, I'm not as harsh on it as I was back then in my initial video, but I still don't like it. And everything I said in that video can still be applied here. So if you want to see my opinions on FNAF 3, just watch that video. I'm not going to rehash myself. So, yeah. Next one, please. Yeah, this game is not that good either. It just slightly beats FNAF 3, just by a smidge, because it has more content and it has better story, and that's it. The daytime areas where you make your own pizza place is fun for a while, but it's I would say sort of limiting in the amount of options given to you, since all you really do is just, once you have everything, all you do is just play a couple games, get money, and maybe get a lore reveal. Maybe, who knows? Especially for Candy Cadet. And that's it. And the scary stuff is also underwhelming in this game because you don't really get much. The jump scares suck. They actually suck. These are like the second worst jump scares in the entire franchise. And the atmosphere is scary for like the first 2 nights. Maybe. And yeah, that's really it. You can tell Scott was just doing this purely to end the franchise, and that didn't even go anywhere because we are still here waiting for Security Breach to come out at the time of this recording. So yeah, great job. I find FNAF World quite enjoyable. The game has more content compared to any other mainline FNAF game, and the writing is pretty good and gets even better with the second update. Gameplay wise, it's okay. It's a very unorthodox way of doing a quote-unquote RPG, but I find it playable. Nothing really felt bullshit per se. It's okay. In terms of difficulty, it's not FNAF 2 balls breaking hard, but it's not like Omega easy. And in terms of the lore, it's something, I guess. It seems like it was a way for just Scott to just tease sister location to everyone at the time. It was definitely something to look forward to back then, but now it's more of a novelty seeing what Scott gave us. Really. Overall, it's a good game in the lineup, especially if it's a side story. But I don't know, it's not as bad as people made it out to be at the time, but it's not great either. Well, yes, this game is the smallest from what we've talked about now. This is the smallest game in the FNAF franchise. It's still pretty good. The concept of being William in Purgatory fending off against the monsters that he had created during his time alive is a really novel idea. The difficulty can be upped at your leisure, and you can get used to it thanks to how custom nights are. The keyboard's controls may be very overbearing. Over time, you'll get used to it. The main thing holding this game back is really aesthetics and just how it kind of looks overall. The game doesn't look the greatest compared to previous FNAF games, and it's not really the fault of Scott. That's just how the game is. He had to cram a good 30 plus characters in the game, plus jump scares, plus coding, plus all that. It was just take too much. This game probably holds more space than SL in terms of like gigabyte size. I'm pretty sure, or something. I don't know. I'm not a tech sav. But the jump scares are probably the worst part of this game. And that's why I say aesthetics, because these jump scares are fucking terrible. And that's really it. It's a custom night, there's not that much to say, but I do say this is better than what we've seen so far, even if it is a side game. So that's just me though. FNAF 1, the big daddy of the entire franchise, and something that wasn't really seen for a time way back in 2014. And how does it hold up now? It's okay. It's alright. It's not the greatest thing you'll ever experience. It's pretty basic, and nowadays it just seems like the bare bones of what you expect from a FNAF game. 2 doors, 2 lights, a camera, and that's it. Not much you can really go off of that, but at the time it was something never really seen before, because most people, or at least most games per se, like, you had the ability to leave, you had the ability to run away from your enemy, but in FNAF you couldn't leave. You were stuck glued to your seat for 6 hours, and you just had to survive. It's actually, now that may sound something not that impressive now, but back then it was something never heard of, which is why this game is really good. But again, it's basic. It's something no one really talks about FNAF 1 as a good game per se. People talk about it as the vein of it being something that started a franchise that was really good. That's why it's number 5 on the list. It's nothing special. It's not, you won't lose your mind over it. Most people don't come up to FNAF 1 like, ooh, no, it's okay. Yeah. Okay, so just take everything FNAF 1 did right and just up that multiplied by 2. And you have FNAF 2. Pretty much everything FNAF 2 does is just better than FNAF 1 in almost every sense of the word. And it even had, in my opinion, a bit more of an impact than even FNAF 1 had at the time. In terms of difficulty, it ramps it up to 11 because, Jesus, this game is fucking hard, especially at the highest difficulty. Because there's so much stuff you have to do. There's the music box, and you also have to put the mask down at a certain time. And you also have to flash Foxy. And in terms of lore, it does even more with the lore than FNAF 1 did. FNAF 1, at most, it was either like a little spooky camera change or posters on the wall, which gave a little more lore. Which was bare bones at the time, and really just, and you look at it back then, it was just, oh yeah, so this is the backstory of the game. But now we're getting more, we're learning a bit more, and now this is where we're at. Yeah, it's really good. I don't have much to say outside of just did everything FNAF 1 did, but better. This is now FNAF 1, not FNAF 1. FNAF 2 is, in my opinion, just like the magnum opus of the FNAF franchise. It may not be the best in the series, but it is one that most people look back on and think of the most when they hear FNAF. It's either FNAF 1 or 2, so that's why, and I think most people think about FNAF 2 more than FNAF 1, ironically enough. Okay, this one was a bit tricky to rank. Between these two games, it's kinda interchangeable. At this point, it's kinda up to complete subjectivity, so I can't really pinpoint which one is just definitively better. So that's why I'm kinda jumbling them together. But it's really hard to say, because they both have something to the table that previous FNAF games just didn't have. FNAF 4 was definitely, in my opinion, the scariest FNAF game to date up until Help Wanted, and maybe Security Breach, I don't know. And FNAF SL had a lot more content and a lot more lore to bring to the table than FNAF 4 did, because in my opinion, FNAF 4 just caused a lot more confusion than SL did, and that's an accomplishment on that's an accomplishment on SL's part, okay? But I mean, yeah, Sister Location definitely has a lot more variety than FNAF 4 will ever have. FNAF 4 is definitely a better version of FNAF 2 because it's scarier, and you have to go open the door, you have to close it. It could be a bit bullshit at times, and they both have their bullshit moments, especially Sister Location having Night 4 in general. I'm not gonna go on a rant about it, but fuck Night 4. But I put this location just slightly above FNAF 4 because it has more gameplay, has more options. The lore can be is definitely a bit better, and yeah, there's just like it's a little bit more replayable, especially with custom night. I don't think this is much debate, but this is pretty much hands down the best FNAF game ever. I don't know if Security Breach will tramp that claim, but we'll never know until it comes out. But as of right now, this is pretty much the undeniable best FNAF game ever. It may not be the best game in general, but it can still stand on its own 2 feet. This game is pretty much the best of every world in the FNAF game franchise. It has the content to keep you playing for a good couple hours, especially with the Dreadbear DLC. That DLC was really good. And with the VR headset, this is undeniably the scariest FNAF game to date since FNAF 4. This game has the most variety of any FNAF game, considering how it has the first 3 FNAF games, nights 1 through 6, plus a couple more, like having to, fix the animatronics, having to fend off against Mangle and Ennard, and a bunch of others, miscellaneous minigames. And yeah, this is a damn near perfect FNAF game that really any fan could really ask for, which is why it's number 1 for me. Now, keep in mind that this list is made before Security Breach, so things could change in the future, in my top 5 spot anyway. Maybe Security Breach is better than Help Wanted, maybe it's worse. Maybe it's even worse than this location, we'll never know until then. But there is one thing left for sure. FNAF is going to be lower on the list. Ha!